For heaven's sakes.
All right, welcome back to Salty Saints, a fun and faithful show for church-going dads. My name is Hayden Holm, and tonight I am joined by none other than Justin Keate. He's one of the top principals in over a high school in Utah, and I have gathered him together tonight because we are going to be talking about 5, not 4, not 6, 5 steps to run an unbeatable 25-minute Elders Quorum meeting. But before we get there, we have to get to a quick dash of salt.
And now it's time for a dash of salt. Oh, not too much now.
Alrighty, so tonight, our dash of salt is coming at us live. Here we go. This one is from an account that, let me see if this is going to work. Cross your fingers, everyone in the chat. Here we go. This is from an account called Judson Comedy, I think. Something like that. Anyway, his whole post is why millennial moms feel exhausted. And tonight, he came out with a very, very special stat that I thought was pretty wild. And I wanted to just get your blind reaction from this, Justin. Let's go.
Craziest parenting statistic I've ever seen. Millennial dads are officially spending as much time parenting their children as boomer moms did. What?
Okay. Pretty wild. Justin, what are your first thoughts when you hear that millennial dads are spending as much time parenting as boomer moms?
I'm not even sure I know what that means, honestly. But
yeah,
I think certainly we're seeing the traditional roles kind of reverse in a lot of situations, and I don't know, man. Like
blame it on COVID. It got everybody indoors.
Let's go with COVID, but it's I don't know, the parents in general just kind of more and more disengaged, and those dads have got a lot going on. Hopefully they're the provider in their home and whatever, but coming home and parenting big time, that's part of the gig as a parent. But COVID did us rotten.
Classic COVID for you. Yeah, so I tell you, well, let's get into some of these comments right here. It says, boomer mothers, at least mine, did 10% of parenting. As a 35-year-old, I realized she didn't raise me at all. I did, but great millennial dads do maybe 10%. That's from Jessica 901. And then Miles Pollard said, kids were told to go outside and stay outside for a reason. Go learn the ways of the forefathers by playing in the creek. So, some people are out there saying, like, maybe we're spending too much time indoors these days. Maybe it's not such a great thing. Maybe dads need to be spending less time for kids. But I saw that, and because I run an organization around fathers, I was like, hey, there's one for us. We're clocking in. We're spending the time. We learned the lesson from Arnold Schwarzenegger in Jingle All the Way. We are there. Our kids are our number one customers. We're loving them. It's great. So that's a little one for us. And before we go any further, there is something else I have to get to. If you are in a dead Elders Quorum, be sure to check out Strength of Dads. It's our Discord where we talk faith, family, finances, and everything in between. We hold weekly games nights. We hold bi-monthly therapy sessions that are completely anonymous, AMAs. And this November 12th through the 14th, we have a retreat that is going on in St. George, Utah. It's a complete resort. It's beautiful. It's booked out. We're going to be doing pickleball, swimming, cold plunge, and sauna. There's going to be majestic hikes. There's going to be a lot of brotherhood happening. There's going to be a lot of protein. It's going to be a great time. You can learn all about that at strengthofdads.com. That's strengthofdads.com. And if you buy now, we are running early bird pricing, so you can get $50 off if you buy before September 17th. But let us get to our main presentation tonight, and that is the steps to making Elders Quorum great again. But there is one way in particular that I wanted to cue this up, and that is through an Instagram reel that I saw just yesterday. So this is coming from a guy, also from St. George. His name is Nick J. Wood. He's a member of the church, and he posted this just yesterday. The caption is, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's pretty much where I'm at with church. I don't know what I believe. I don't know where this is going. I don't even know why I keep showing up, but I do. 35 years old, and my entire spiritual strategy is just keep going until something makes sense. Kind of sounds like some Creed lyrics. Am I right or am I right? All right, anyway, here we go.
Church, and quite honestly felt nothing, like, at all. I did get there with 30 minutes to go and was like mentally distracted with some personal stuff before walking in. But at one point I'm sitting there going, well, why are you here? What are you doing, dude? You don't feel anything. You're not feeling nothing. You're not learning anything. So I started asking myself, like, what am I doing here? It's not for anybody. My kids don't know I'm here. My parents don't know I'm here. I'm like not doing it for anybody else. I don't feel like my business is going to fail or not. I'm going to make less money if I don't come. And the answer is, I don't know. I know there is a positive correlation when my life is going well and when I'm going to church. That's it. And right now, that's why I go.
Okay. All right. So it starts with, I felt nothing at church. It ends with, I wish I had a better reason outside of, I just go to go, because I think there's a positive correlation. The crazy part is, I don't believe that this is far off from a lot of men's experience in the church, but I wanted to get your opinion on this, Justin. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody at some point has felt that way, right? Like you get him just saying, I don't know. Like, I mean, he kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit and was like, look, I got there late. I had other things on my mind. I think sometimes everybody's just like, hey, it was all I could do just to show up today and try to focus and pay attention on what's going on. There's a lot weighing on me. There's a lot going on. I think you get as much about out of church as you try to get out of it and focus, what you can focus on, get out of it. So to me, it sounded like he was kind of doomed to fail anyway from what he said. But, kudos to the guy for showing up anyway, probably having a tough day, a tough week. And he kind of hinted to that. And I like that he at least brought it back and was like, it seems like I did get a little something good out of this. And at least I'm doing something. And I do feel good when I'm here, and good job. I think everybody can relate to that. So, but
totally.
it reminds me of Abraham Lincoln, I think said, I mean, he's a very quotable president. So hopefully he said this. I think he did, people are about as happy as they decide to be. Right. So
right.
About the same thing with his church experience, right? It's about as good as you decide it's going to be and what you can get out of that. So,
right. And today's episode is mainly speaking to ward councils, because right now a lot of ward councils, they're just kind of shuffling, they're bouncing, they don't know what to do. A lot of them are getting anxious because there's a big change in format. And so there are a lot of ward councils around the globe right now that are trying to figure out, what is our 25-minute block going to look like for Elders Quorum? And from what I've heard, a lot of feedback so far has mainly been, well, instead of reading all of the paragraphs, we'll maybe just have to pick out one or two of the paragraphs and just read those. But when you hear something like that, as a high school principal, your job is completely centers around attention spans. So when you hear that somebody is trying to cram a ton of material into a short amount of time, what kind of bells and whistles go off in your mind? What does that tell you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, those poor ward councils, I'll bet they were busier than a one-armed paper hanger in a whirlwind. So that's just trying to figure out how to make this work. And I'm sure some of the leadership there were just kind of having full struggle meltdowns. They're at DEFCON 4 trying to figure this out. So I think it's great, actually. I don't mind it. I think it's okay. I think you find the strength, you find the opportunity in the challenge for me here, right? So good teachers are going to really, first of all, you got to be prepared. So you've got to come prepared to manage a discussion. I don't think you're teaching the content as much anymore, right? So you cannot have the focus of, I have to get through this content faster. I think that's a mistake. When I heard this, I was pretty excited, but my first thought is that's what people are going to do, right? They're going to just hustle.
Right.
They're going to be like, oh man, the kids better get in there and be quiet. And
They're going to start
we gotta
speed
get through
reading.
this lesson and just skyrocket, and bam, there it is, you know? So no. I think you're going to have to come prepared with some discussion questions prioritized, ready for some good engaging discussion around the big takeaways of the topic. And you kind of have to reverse engineer that, right? Like you got to think, what is the goal here? What are the one or two or three, no more than three. If it's more than three, it's too many, because they don't have that attention spans of kids or adults. And what can we get through and have a meaningful discussion around? And what do I want them to walk out of here with the one or two big takeaways, and then back that discussion off from there. So everything you're doing kind of points to that.
Totally.
That's going to be the secret sauce here, I think. If you're hustling through content, you should have minimal content, if any, here, right? The point is,
so
hopefully
if you're
they
stressed
read it.
out, if you're watching the clock and you're stressed out about how much time you don't have, that's probably an indicator that you're doing it the wrong way. All right, so
100%.
So that's one of the first missteps. The second misstep, I think, is, and this is, we'll get into this in the steps. Actually, why don't we just go there right now? All right, we're getting into the steps. The 5 steps to run an unbeatable 25-minute Elders Quorum. Okay, step 1. This is the first step. The pre-quorum anonymous form. This is a Google form. It's completely free to set up. It just has one question. What's on your heart or mind? Keep that form. If you've been doing that, keep it. And send it out before Elders Quorum, send it out during Elders Quorum. Make sure that every man in the quorum has an opportunity to fill out that form, because that's how you learn the needs of your quorum. Okay, so that is the first step to the unbeatable 25-minute quorum. You have to have those needs. If you don't have those needs, everything else just crumbles. You have to know what men are thinking. You have to know what they're struggling with. You have to know what their concerns are. And that's where you can figure out if there are doubts in the quorum, if brethren are struggling with their testimonies. It's all from those forms. So that is the absolute first step. And
but Hayden, what if you spend too much time on that and we just don't get to the lesson? What if we can't teach everything?
Yes. You see, now here's the deal. I'm glad you're bringing that up. Because one of the purposes
someone's
of the
going
church,
to in ward council, so
They absolutely will. And so we are here to arm you and equip you with the tools that you need to know in order to lobby for a format that doesn't leave men leaving church thinking, what did I just do? Why did I just go there? I felt nothing. So right here, this is from the church website. This is among some of the common questions, all right? So it says, why is this change happening? This adjustment is intended to help members focus more on the teachings of Jesus Christ, strengthen gospel learning at home, and this is the key part right here: increase fellowship, belonging, and community at church. All right? So community, that is a key element of all of these changes. We have to increase the belonging and the community. Did that brother at the beginning of this episode, did he have community? Did he have belonging? I'm going to say probably not. Because if he had someone there who was like, hey, man, what's going on? It sounds like you had kind of a rough week. You know, I'm glad that you made it, even though it's the last 30 minutes. That could have been a game changer for him. He might have felt something, but he shut up, he sat, he was quiet, and then he quietly left. That's not belonging. That's not community. All right. So the other piece that I want to get to.
Hey, hold on real quick. Can I go back to that?
Yeah.
I would almost say that community and belonging is so critical to this that's just as like once that's the box you have to check. You can kind of almost think it of a one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for successful elders quorum is you have to have that community and belonging. And once the brethren feel that, then they're going to open up to the discussions you want them to have and the learning part that you want to happen in that 25 minutes. So that fellowship, belonging, community at church is so critical. That's going to be the main thing you have to chase after. and try to accomplish, and then you will get the discussion, the learning, and have the engagement that you want there in Elders Quorum. I fully believe that. It's the same thing here at high school. Kids got to know that they matter here. They got to know they're seen. They got to know they belong to something. Then we can educate them.
Right. So trying to have a discussion without any sense of community or belonging is kind of like trying to stuff a turkey through the beak.
You got it.
It's like, yeah, it can work. It's not as effective, and there are way more effective ways to do it.
Bingo.
So now let's go down here. This is the format. What is the format for Melchizedek Priesthood and Relief Society meetings? Okay. Let's see. Meetings begin and end with prayer. Gospel instruction is centered on messages from the most recent General Conference. Presidencies seek the guidance of the Spirit as they select messages to discuss. Members counsel together during the lesson about how the principles in the messages apply to their respective challenges and opportunities. So there should still be counseling in these meetings that we have. These shouldn't be lessons. We should stop calling them lessons. Yeah,
exactly.
These are meetings. Yeah, discussions
So
that we're having.
focused on the needs of the members in our quorum, and that takes most of the lesson time up. When we get to not as much of the lesson, we're still on purpose. We're still on solid ground, right?
Totally.
Love
so,
it.
They are encouraged to both understand the teachings and apply them in their daily lives. Leaders and teachers ensure the discussion focuses on the Savior and helping members deepen their covenant relationship with Him. Okay, so
and I think this is kind of a misstep a little bit too. Sometimes that we just launch right into the lesson, and we miss out on that opportunity to address the needs in the ward of the Elders Quorum, or have that be an important part of the discussion that's going on. Sometimes we just launch right into the lesson instead of the connection and belonging part. So. If you're a teacher out there or ward council, help your Sunday school teachers and Elders Quorum teachers and Relief Society, whoever, help them, make sure that they understand that focus on community belonging and the needs of the quorum through challenges they're currently having, because that's important.
Right. And those forums help you find out and discover what those challenges are. So, step one, now that we know that community and belonging and counseling about needs and challenges is the goal. And this is the goal that the brethren are pushing us towards, that the Lord Himself is pushing us towards. All right, so if that's the goal, these steps are going to help us get to that goal. So first one, send out that form, understand the needs of your quorum. Step two, groups. There are going to be people that are immediately triggered and they're like, oh, God, I can't stand the groups. No, we need the groups. You have to be sitting in groups, and no more than 6 people per group. This is from a book called The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker, who ran thorough study on what is the ideal group size for different formats, for different events and stuff like that. She said, if you want to have a good discussion, then you cannot have more than 6 people. If you have more than 6 people, then some people do not feel any responsibility to participate, and so they just start going off the gas. They're just like, I'm done, I don't have to be here. They don't participate anymore, and they start phasing out. So 6 people means everyone in that table feels like they got skin in the game, and it engages them one by one, which is great. So that is step 2. Step 1, the form. Step 2, no more than 6 people. Group seating. All right? Okay.
I'll tell you why this is important right now too, man, is we're heading into this wonderful time of year called fantasy football season. And that is, if you have church when I have church, the temptation is heavy in the Elders Quorum to be dialed into your fantasy football team and what's going on there. So some brethren just cannot overcome or have a hard time with that temptation to slide into the rows, zone out on their phone like they're following along in the lesson and checking that fantasy football score. So this is a for sure fantasy football pro tip beater, where you put them in a circle, put them around each other, staring at each other. Let's get engaged and let's talk together. And they're all on equal ground in that circle, and they all matter. And it says, we want you engaged here, man. You can't go hide in a row behind people. And I think your football fantasy scores will be just fine right after that discussion. So
Right. So we are full back into King Arthur's round table. Everyone is there. Everyone is an equal. Everyone has a voice. And that's exactly what we want. So that is the step 2 of the 5-step program. Okay. I'm starting to feel like Rex Kwon Do here. If you just sign up for my 8-week program, you'll leave with the wisdom of a man. All right. Step 3. Okay. This one is kind of, this is a little bit of a sleeper. Some people, they don't do it, but the ones who do it, they find it works phenomenally well. And that is snacks. Okay. You have to bust out the snacks, all right? There's some guys out there that are like, keto and intermittent fasting and boop, bop, beep, bop. All right. Yeah. You can have your own keto-friendly snacks. You can bring them yourself, in your own organic hemp Ziploc bag, whatever you got out there. It's okay. Bring out your own snacks. It's going to be all right. But snacks is what helps brethren to connect, all right? It's something that's like, all right, you immediately feel like you are welcome. This is straight out of Hospitality 101. You sit down, you can munch on something, all right? That gives you immediately something that you can talk about with somebody else besides the weather. And if you are in St. George like that, brother, it's like the weather doesn't change that much. It's like, hey, how about those blue skies? It's pretty hot out.
And you're in sacrament meetings staring at your kids' nibs or that bag of Cheetos just so hard, trying to slide a few of those away from your kids. You want those snacks, brother. And come on, be straight with you. I'm trying to coax any kid around me to see if they can share their yogis or whatever from Costco with me, man. I have to bring them now to my kids are older, so I have to bring them now to try to get the kids to come to me and, come and hang out, and I'll trade you snacks. So I'll trade you some cheese nibs for your yogis there or whatever. So the snacks are going to bring the brethren together, man. It opens doors nothing else could. Bring the snacks.
It doesn't only open doors. I mean, it lowers defenses, and it gives, this is a pro tip for you Elders Quorum presidents, it gives you something to actually spend your budget on. So you can actually tell Bishop at the end of the year, like, we used our $50. Hey, look at that. So there you go. Use up those budgets, get those snacks out there. We're going to take a quick break to start reading some of these comments because you guys have been super active on this, which is great. All right, this is from Zion's Warrior Saint. It says, poor Justin's name is misspelled. Oh, look at that.
Dude.
Justin. All right, hold on. Thank you, Justin.
Oh man, thanks to the live
we fixed it
for
live,
helping me out there. I can't be. And I'm an educator. What's going on here? Come on.
Yeah, no, that was probably on me. That was probably on me. Yeah,
that's all right.
This is from Kyle. He said, "Ain't nobody got time for 1X. I recently found out my wife is pregnant after 4 years of trying, and we are getting twins. It's going to be a wild ride. Congratulations, Kyle.
Let's go,
boy. Yeah,
church snacks in your future."
Cheetos, yes, you are going to understand. Yeah, the importance of those snacks. Let's see. This is Gamblicious. He says, my Elders Quorum is so dead, I don't even go anymore. I thought after 3 days it would be resurrected, but it is really, really dead. Sorry to hear it, Gamblicious. I know that a lot of quorums are struggling out there, and that's what we're trying to do right now. We know that a lot of ward councils are talking about change. A lot of Elders Quorums are shaking things up, and we're hoping right now can be that moment where the quorum decides, let's try something different.
Make that suggestion, man. Forward your Elders Quorum president this episode, or make the suggestion. Hey, I'm just struggling to feel that connection here. What if we mixed it up a little bit and got in groups and sat around a round table and talked about things we're struggling with and, had some snacks and then get to the lesson, right?
Yeah. Ooh, this one's for you, Justin. It says, I've had great EQ lessons that were dead because the teacher was the only one who cared. Good participants can help bad lesson take a turn for the better. What do you think about that? Do you believe in bad participation? Do you think that's actually behind some of these dead quorums? Is that people are just like, I don't want to do it?
Yeah, to me, that's on the teacher, right? And I think what they're saying here, hopefully, is like that teacher just wants to talk and get through their content again, like we talked last time. Like, man, I got to get through this lesson, and that's not the point. There's there's teaching and there's learning, right? You want learning and discussion is what you want in a good, effective lesson. If I show up in the goals to teach and get through the content, and that's what I did as a teacher, I'm like, yes, I did it. I got through the lesson. And everyone's bored out of their minds and they got nothing out of it. And I'm that guy that posted that videos in my Elders Quorum. Like that's not a win at all. So to me, that's on the teacher. We did a podcast here on engaging lessons and that's really good. But that teacher needs to find a way to get all those brethren involved, talking about what they want them to, and thinking about the topic, and walking away again with having a clear learning target on what they want those brethren to get out of this lesson.
Totally.
And a good teacher will do that and can do that. So that one's on the teacher for me.
Love it. All right, this one is coming from Grant Morgan. Hey, he's a friendly face. He came to our last men's retreat, and he's,
Go, Grant.
as far as I know, he's coming to our next one. That's great. Grant says, I am seeing this change as a brother of Jared moment. The Lord has told us what to do for so long with curriculum. It's time to start figuring out things through study and the Spirit. We need to rise. Amen to that. 100%
Great comment
Grant on that one.
Great comment,
Yeah.
Grant.
Okay, so I think we are pretty much caught up on that. So we're going into step 4 of our 5-step program. All right. Step 4 is, so first, the anonymous form. Second, you have the group seating. Third, snacks. All right, bring out the snacks. Fourth is you need. This is kind of a part. This has an A and a B to it. So 4A, all right, 4A is group discussion leaders. So we need to stop calling teachers, and we need group discussion leaders. All right. So teachers, it just has too much mental baggage with it. If we call somebody to be an Elders Quorum teacher, guess what? They're going to get up there and they're going to be like, all right, guys, let's start speed reading some paragraphs and let's just see if we can rip right through this, and then guys are going to check out. If we have discussion leads, if you call them like a discussion leader, that could change things, because then they're like, I don't know. But at each one of these tables or each one of these groups that you have, you can call one person to just own that group. So you can call however many groups you have in your quorum. Let's say maybe you have 3, maybe you have 4. You call 4 discussion leaders. And those discussion leaders are responsible for kind of setting the pace of the discussion. So they handle the entire discussion in their own group. And this is pulling from some Kurt Frankum lore from what he's doing in his quorum. So the discussion leaders, they run it, and basically every table, every group has their own lesson. All right, now that's super important because you can basically start your lesson immediately as soon as you get 6 people in one group. So that way you don't have to wait for the entire class to filter in. The teacher's not waiting there like, oh, hurry up, brethren, hurry up. All right, we're just going to have to start without you, And that way you're living and dying in your groups, and you are connecting with these guys, these 6 guys in those groups. The other piece that I want to emphasize right now, for those ward councils that are still on the fence about groups, they're like, I don't know, I hate groups, I don't like groups, throw my lumbar out, No. All right, so for those ward councils that are on the fence about groups, in 25 minutes, if you have 1, maybe 2 guys that need to get all their words out for the week, there goes your entire 25-minute block. If you have 2 guys that are just like, oh, excuse me, I have a comment, and they just take you on a side tangent in front of everyone, and you don't group up, guess what? Everyone's going to go on that scenic route with brother so-and-so who wants to tell everyone about his latest toe surgery, and stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, great, you got a bunion shaved, awesome. Oh. So the groups will prevent that. It makes it so much more manageable because they can still talk, but that group discussion leader can then say, all right, let's keep things moving, and it lives and dies in that group, which is fantastic. And you can put those 2 brethren in the same group. That's a pro tip for you. And then
definitely put those 2 brethren in the same group. That's a super pro tip. So
100%.
And here's the other thing as a teacher, just a teaching pro tip there too, like, get those discussions going. That is good, meaningful discussion. It's going to sound chaotic if you have 3 or 4 of those groups going, but man, everyone's talking about what you want them to, right? Everybody's engaged in the lesson. And then if you want, as a discussion leader, you're leading that discussion, you stop the groups every now and then, just say, hey, I'm going to give you a minute to wrap up your discussions, and then you can ask to share what was discussed here and there, and the whole group can benefit from that. So it's ultimate engagement. That's a great strategy. And we've tried it. Group leaders around tables works. Give it a try.
Yeah,
You
give
won't
it a
go back.
shot. So that's 4A. 4B is rules. Okay, so you have to have rules, and this is the other Kurt Francom lore that he does in his quorum that I think every quorum should do. You have to have rules for your discussion, and so every week the group leader, the discussion leader, will read through the rules of the quorum. It'll say like, hey, whatever is said here stays here. Confidentiality is key. It'll talk about like, hey, we want all of you guys to buy in. We want all of you guys to participate. We're expecting you guys to do that. And that is just setting everybody in that group. It's setting their expectations and preparing them to have a great discussion. So you can run through the rules. And then as a part of that, the actual meat and potatoes of the lesson. This is coming from Dan Oki in North Carolina. What his plan is something that I support 100%. I think a lot of Elders Quorum presidents out there should be praying about hard right now. We're talking Enos level prayers that you should be giving to this revelation that he's received, where what he's doing is he's taking those anonymous Google forums, he's compiling those submissions, he's going to print them out and put them on top of the tables for all of these groups in his quorum. And then he's telling all of the brethren at the tables to work on solving those issues. So some of the concerns might be the church spends too much money on temples. That's one that he actually had. And a brother might voice a doubt or a concern, or maybe he's struggling with his faith or his testimony. And that's exactly where you want them. That's exactly where you want them, is in Elders Quorum. You want these guys on their heels. You want them giving it so you could give them the old spiritual pop, bam, right there from the high priest who has lived through a lot of seasons of life and who has that experience, who can tell them like, hey, let me give you some wisdom here. And so what Dan Oki is saying is he's going to get those needs, and then the final rule that he gives his discussion leaders is you have to use general conference talks to address these concerns. So look through the talks and address the concerns that you see on the table. And then everyone does that in their groups, and they just kind of work through those concerns one by one every single week. What are your thoughts on that? When you hear that, Justin, what does your mind go to?
I think that's solid. That lines up more with the directives there from the church too, right? You're focused on the needs and the challenges of individual quorum members. It's being addressed in the quorum in a safe environment, and you're leaning on the experience of the brethren. That's what a brotherhood is, right? That's what an Elders Quorum is and should be. Is I've got questions, I'm struggling, and you want that to happen in that environment where they have a supportive brotherhood who they can lean on, who can give them some life advice, some help. And even if it's just like, if it's a super tough thing, even if it's just like, that's a hard one, man, I'm sorry about that, or whoever's going through that, it's a tough one. So maybe we just need to pray for you and kind of just give a little support or encouragement, right? It's not always an easy answer for some of the things that may come up, but totally. That's what that's about. And I think that's another thing that we, again, you don't want to miss out on that for sake of just like getting through the content and making sure that you're teaching whatever you felt like getting through the content of the lesson. But right. That's the point of a brotherhood and a fellowship in Elders Quorum.
Yes.
I love it. Dan Oki's a wizard, man.
He knows what he's doing.
Legit.
Yeah.
Do that. Try it. It works. So.
Yeah. So that's step 4. And then step 5, the 5th and final step of this all is, this comes straight from Frank Schwartz, hashtag F3 Nation. Shout out to all those F3 Nation workout dogs out there. This is closing with a circle of trust. So just like what the church is saying, you start with a prayer, you end with a prayer. In your group, You can either do it shoulder to shoulder like they do in F3, or you can do it just sitting down like we usually do it. We call that traditional praying in the church, you know. And so you can do that, but the discussion leader can then say, he can ask the group. He says, all right, guys, hey, before I say a prayer, is there anything I could pray for you about? And then the men will have an opportunity there where if they are struggling, if there's something that they could use in their life, some blessing or some spiritual strength or fortitude, they can pitch that out to the group lead and say, yeah, you know, my dad just lost his job and he's struggling and we don't know how he's going to get through retirement now, or, you know, oh, my, you know, so-and-so passed away, or I just got into, you know, my kid just got sick and things are hard. That's where you can pray. You can drop it at the feet of your brother, and your brother and God can help pick that up and help you carry it. So that is the fifth step of there. But Justin, it looks like you were going to say something.
No, just for clarity there, you're talking, and just for clarity so people understand, doing this in the groups, not as a whole group form. Yep, in the groups where you're already discussing, have some familiarity, you've been talking, and I've participated in this. We've done this with a group of brethren, and honestly, just from someone who at first was a little like that might be a little different. That might be a little hard for guys to talk. Nope, it was not at all, man. Brethren opened up immediately. It happened in a small group of 6 that we were around chatting with at this. You know, we'd been talking together as a group, and man, when it came time to do that prayer together, it was like every single person said something that was on their heart or on their mind that was like, yeah, you can pray for me for this. And that group leader did that, and it was powerful, man. There were tears shed. It was, the guys opened up and talked, and it meant a lot. And man, I can't think of a better way to just seal the deal or end that lesson on a positive than to ask a brethren what you can pray for them for, have them verbalize something that would help them, and then have that experience together
100%
as a group. So you're doing that in that group.
Yeah. And, you know, some people might think like, oh, man, this is way too different for us. We don't do that. That's not our culture. That's not our thing. I tell you what, I would take a circle of trust prayer any day over singing This Little Light of Mine again. Like, holy smokes, that is just so uncomfortable. It's just not our thing. And so I would much rather do this than sing that hymn again. Holy smokes. But those are the 5 steps. So for those that are joining the stream late, step 1, send out the anonymous Google form. Get the needs of your quorum. Step 2, group everyone into groups of no more than 6. Step 3, snacks. Bring out the snacks. Step 4, discussion leaders and rules. And make sure that everyone knows in that group what the rules are and who the discussion leader is. And then step 5, end it in a circle of trust. Now, let's contrast a little bit here. What are you walking away from if you had a lesson that included those 5 steps? If you had an entire meeting with those as a part of it versus the old format. So that brother just showed us the old format. He walked away. He said, I got nothing. I felt nothing. I am nothing. You know, and it's just like, whoa, man, that was kind of rough. Whereas if you incorporate those 5 steps, guess what? You're walking away with at least a snack, okay?
Yeah.
The bare minimum. You got some goldfish out of that.
Yes,
Maybe
you got goldfish. There's 0 complaints at this point.
Yeah, like if you are spiritually completely dead inside, didn't participate
You're at least
at all.
physically fed, right? You got some. Yeah. You got some chips.
You're walking away with some snacks. It's a great time. Then So you're walking away with snacks. Not only that, you're walking away with people that have prayed for you. You're voicing concerns. You're addressing concerns and problems that other people in the quorum are facing, which goes back to, oh man, I can't remember who, but somebody said, there was a quote that goes something along the lines of, if you are having a hard day, the best way to overcome your bad attitude and hard day is to start serving someone else. That Elders Quorum could give you an opportunity to start serving and ministering to somebody else, pulling from General Conference to do so. So you're teaching, you are ministering to other people, you're addressing needs, you're walking away feeling like, I did something today. I actually made an impact today. I talked with people, I connected with people, they checked in with me, I checked in with them, and you're going to walk away with a lot in your spiritual shopping cart from that experience versus kind of the self-checkout method that has been around for a long time, where you just kind of go in, boop, go out, you're done, didn't talk to anyone, and now you're posting about it on Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like that brother would have had a whole different experience had anything, even some of those steps been implemented, right? So, and I just think to the listener out there, and like, what have you got to lose, right? If you even feel like your Elders Quorum is any of those struggles or challenges, which a lot of them do, most of them do, I would say, like, you're certainly in a position where you've got nothing to lose by implementing those steps, as many as you can, and it will be better. It will be more engaging. It will be better.
Yeah. Now there is a really interesting part. So I'm taking on a new venture. People are going to start learning about this soon, but it's involved a lot of study, and some of the study has got me into church history. And did you know that some of the very first Elders Quorums that existed, they actually would spend their entire meeting ministering, teaching, and counseling among themselves? And when I heard about it, it actually, there was a phrase that was mentioned. I can't remember where. I'll have to find it. It said it was a brotherhood of ministers was the original vision of the Elders Quorum. And I was like,
Yeah.
That's it. That
Legit.
is what we are going for. So turns
Back
out this
to it.
format is actually the original format of the Elders Quorum. Back in the day, brethren would get together, and a lot of times they would get together to address specific problems. The problem facing was heavy around immigration, because there were a lot of saints that were coming from over the pond who had to figure out, like, okay, well, how are they going to work? How are they going to make a living? Where are they going to live, and stuff like that. And so a lot of the brethren would get together. They would counsel about needs. They would try and figure out, like, okay, well, let's get this guy assimilated here. This person can connect with them, and let's get them involved in the community. They were building brotherhood. They were counseling about their needs. They were addressing those needs in the quorum, and then they were walking away from there very, very practically focused. But those two words were the summary of the quorum experience. It was a brotherhood of ministers. Okay. And so that's where I think we should be in 2026 and moving forward, is going back into the brotherhood of ministers, where Elders Quorum becomes a place where we're creating community, we're bonding together, and we're ministering to each other. I mean, what better way can you think of to actually run the ministering program than just to have everyone minister to each other in class? I think you're going to see interviews go through the roof at that point, and ministering actually getting done.
Yeah, man, it's a novel idea, right? Like, it's amazing that the original, back to the original, how often does that happen? Tried and true works. And the only thing that can make that better is you're also eating goldfish while you're doing that. Like, come on. So that is as good as it gets. I love that concept, because that focus of ministering, it doesn't need to necessarily be assigned to certain. It's like minister in your Elders Quorum group there, help each other out, and the format you just laid out plays right to that.
Right. 100%. So another fun fact, I just remembered this. Those early quorums, they would actually confess to each other. So, I mean, that was kind of crazy, but they would actually confess to each other in preparation to go to the temple, because they would go to the temple together too. It's kind of a fun fact for you church historians out there. But as we kind of get to the hour on this one, what are some of the takeaways that you want ward councils to know and understand about this new format and this new opportunity that we have?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think people should, as this training's coming up this Sunday, people should not worry about, because I know as teachers, some of the initial thoughts were just, I don't even know how we're going to get through this. Like, that shouldn't even be the thought on your mind at all, right? I think it's
Right.
embrace the opportunity here, and be excited about the opportunity to lead a prioritized discussion around 1 or 2 or 3 big takeaways from the lesson, and have some really good engaging questions and tactics as a teacher where you can have them, like in these groups, discuss what they read and come prepared with maybe some quotes from the lesson, or just some good discussion questions, and see it as an opportunity to be dialed in and have that connection with your class, and really just hit the heart of what you want them to take away from the lesson. What are the big takeaways? And have that discussion around those takeaways that they can then apply in their lives too. So, let's have that discussion, and then what does that mean for us? And
Totally.
no worries. Don't worry about getting through the content. The new format almost takes that away from you too, right? You've got to be very, very dialed in and focused. But I think you get excited about the opportunity, focus on the big takeaways, and have those big takeaways be the center of your discussion, and the connection that you have together as a class, and you're gonna be in a really good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say for me, the takeaways that I want ward councils out there to understand about this new format, I think for Sunday school, that should definitely be kind of a discussion based off of like a lesson format, kind of thing. I would say let's think of Sunday school as kind of teaching. Let's think of Elders Quorum and Relief Society as ministering. That's what I would say. Like, if that's the main focus, it shifts the entire dynamic of that meeting. 25 minutes is not enough time to teach a lesson, but it is enough time to change a man's life. And so you can sit down and you can actually counsel, you can figure things out, you can pull from lessons, you can pull from talks and all of that, and actually make a difference so that people, when they leave, they feel like they've got something that they're taking home with them, that they're actually going to apply in their lives. That's the goal. I think we can get there 100%. So for all of those people that are in the chat tonight, be sure to send this out to your Elders Quorum president. If you're not there yet, I think this is a great opportunity. Find some clever way to do it so it's not super like passive aggressive or anything like that. Like, hey, maybe I saw this silly little video out there, but the thing is, as I've been working with quorums and they've been implementing this, I have noticed that quorums that do this, they actually bond. They actually build brotherhood, and they actually begin to minister to each other. The men actually start hanging out outside of the quorum. It turns into this really cool organization, and I think that was the purpose of the Elders Quorum when it first started, was to become a brotherhood of ministers. So those are my takeaways for those for ward councils as you're discussing how to implement this in your ward on Sunday. Remember those 5 steps and you will be in a very good spot. Justin, what are you up to, and where can people find you?
Oh man, I just live here at the school, so just hanging out at Desert Hills High School in good old St. George, Utah, straightening high school kids out one way or another here, man. We are educating kids, fully committed to helping them. I am not, you can maybe hunt me down on Facebook. I'm not really a social media guy, but you can, I'm totally involved with Salty Saints, so you can find me here often as a listener and a follower here. So, man, thanks for having me on. Everybody, let's get super excited about this opportunity, the new format. I think it's really cool. There's some really, really awesome opportunities here to be dialed in on what we really want the takeaways to be, and have some good discussions around that. And I love the idea for Elders Quorums to lean into that ministering brotherhood. That's right on the money. So yeah, you can find me here at the high school, man. If you're ever around in St. George, stop in and say hi.
Yeah, and if you are in a dead Elders Quorum and you are just beating your head on the wall, you're like, man, these guys are not doing anything. That's why we created For the Strength of Dads. It's a Discord where we are talking everything. So you can voice your struggles, your concerns, your frustrations there. If you need somebody to pray for you, we have a whole channel called Pray For Me, Boys. where you can just say, all right, boys, I'm struggling this week. Pray for me. And we're trying to bridge the gap for any of those brethren out there that feel like they are struggling. You can check that all out. It's for free at strengthofdads.com. That's strengthofdads.com. And until next time, my name is Hayden Holmes.